Do you believe that you can heal yourself? Too often we give our power away to something outside of ourselves, and rarely, if ever, trust and tap into our innate healing power and intuition. Everyone has this capability to heal in ways we never thought possible. It's your sovereign right to claim and have true health and lasting wellness. Now, here is the host of the Dr. Dolores Show, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer.
Well, welcome everybody. Happy New Year, wherever you are in this world of ours. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And, beginning our new year here, we're really going to be talking about building resilience and finding calm in chaos. And let's face it, we live in a real mega chaotic world right now. Everything is like flying around, and we're going through time warps of accelerated speed of things happening and deceleration. It's all in the mix, and sometimes it could be just a bit overwhelming. And how do you stay grounded in your center and just be at peace with yourself? So just to recap of the description of today's show, I'm just going to read a little bit. In today's fast-paced world, it often seems like we're caught in a never-ending whirlwind of chaos and stress. The desire for inner peace is more desire for inner peace is what we really crave and we really thrive, especially during these, really uncertain times that we are all experiencing. Today, we're going to delve deep into resilience. And resilience isn't about chaos, about avoiding chaos, but rather mastering the art of navigating through it. Today, we're going to discover how you can develop the resilience to maintain your inner peace, even when it feels like the world is turning into a shit show. I laugh because you got to find the humor in everything, because if you lose your sense of humor, folks, it's over. You're going to learn practical strategies and mindfulness techniques that can be applied in real life scenarios, whether you're dealing with a hectic work schedule, navigating personal crises, or simply seeking tranquility amidst daily challenges. Building resilience, finding calm in chaos equips you with the tools you need to not just survive, but to thrive in the chaos of the modern world. Tune in today and learn to cultivate resilience, reclaim your serenity, and find your inner peace in the face of life's most chaotic moments. It's time to take charge of your well being and embrace life's challenges with strength and poise. And with that being said, we're really in very interesting times. People, humanity is evolving and ascending, if you want to call that. Ascension means that we're rising our frequency. So we could be higher vibrating, because remember, everything's energy. We are energetic beings. Our surroundings are all energy. We are probably more a denser demonstration of energy because of our physicality. But keep in mind, too, it's like the energy of thoughts, beliefs, our emotions, whether or not you experience them or not, what we call trapped emotions that are stuck in our energy system, that's energy as well. And just whether or not you're connected to yourself. So many people are so disconnected from themselves. It's like when I see people sometimes, it's just like I could tell when a person is completely in their head or whether they're integrated into their physical body. It's like there's a huge disconnect between the mind and the body, from the head and the heart, for, lack of a better description. When you're able to merge the two together, because remember, it's not or this or that, you need both. But to have that dance where it ebbs and flows, and moves with grace and ease versus like driving through life with the emergency brake on. Anybody know what that's like? Oh yeah, it's like you keep your emergency brake on, you're trying to accelerate and it's like it's just like it's like, all right, now that you're aware of that and you got the good visual, let's do something about it. So let's talk about resilience, okay? So I kind of did some research and looked it up and stuff like that. So I'm going to give you a definition. Resilience is a dynamic and multifaceted trait that can be developed and strengthened over time. It encompasses emotional, psychological, and physical aspects, and it plays a crucial role in maintaining mental flexibility, optimism, problem solving, and the capacity to learn and grow from adversity. Building resilience involves developing coping mechanisms, social support networks, and positive mindset. So, that's all fine and good, but then you say, well, how the heck do I do that? Right? Right. Well, fear not. We're going to talk a little bit more about that today, how you could take the baby steps that you need to in order to start creating a very firm and solid foundation to build upon. Okay. I think the most important thing is that when we find calm in chaos, it's about bringing ourselves back to center. And what I'm going to invite people to, look at and explore in their lives, and maybe you could even relate to this. Sometimes when so much stuff is going on and you're on overwhelm and you feel like you're in the spin cycle of a washing machine where everything's flying around really fast and it's hard for you to tangibly grasp onto anything and to find any stability. Let's face it, our world is on spin cycle right now. Okay. When we're in spin cycle, you're not going to be able to grasp onto everything because the spin cycle, believe it or not, I believe is based on a lot of fear energy that has just been in collective consciousness for who knows God, how many eons. And what I mean by that, the spin cycle, is that oftentimes we create things out of fear. Okay. When you kind of look at what's happening right now, there's a lot of moving parts, even though we're not on a spin cycle. Okay. There's a lot of moving parts going on. And what happens is that a lot of times we create out of fear. Okay. There's a fine line about manifesting and creating. Are you creating out of fear or lack, or love and abundance? Something to think about. Too often we create, and we've been programmed to create, that we need to make something happen in order for us to survive. That's very fear. Underlying component of that is just fear. So why are we going there? So we're in a period of time right now where we're kind of purging through all the creations that have been built on fear and lack. And as we clear those out, guess what? We're going to become less and less chaotic, because with that sometimes comes when something's up for us, it's just like it's in our face. And when we are resistant to experiencing that, it kind of ups its ante a little more and is in our face even more. And it's just like, it creates a lot of chaos and drama because it wants to get our attention. So I invite you, when that starts happening to you, pay attention, okay? Because maybe it's a part of you that is resistant to something that you need to let go of. And this could be an old belief or an old program that you're carrying around, that you've been carrying around in this lifetime and maybe in other lifetimes as well, a bleed through, as we call it. And when you're able to embrace that, look at that, experience that, it's like you come to peace with that. And it's like an inner knowingness and calmness. So it's shifting from the external to the internal, from the mind to the heart. Okay. This is not about thinking it out and worrying and angst, mind stuff. This is about being in your body, feeling the love, feeling the emotions, and just experience what comes up with a lot of this stuff. Because when we're able to truly feel it at a very deep level, and maybe this is a new concept for you, when you're feeling something at a very deep level, maybe you've never felt before. Trust me, emotions are okay. They're a necessity and a they're an important factor of being a human being. When we're in our physical bodies, this is where we get to experience emotions. Emotions are a richness of possibilities, a richness of experiences without labeling them good or bad, negative or positive. They're just learning opportunities. And depending on how much resistance you are in, depends on how challenging it could be for you. So if you find that things are, we're creating our own chaos, um, external, chaos within, it's about taming the shrew and feeling your emotions and just allowing things to be as they are. And most importantly is just having a lot of self-compassion for yourself. Too often many people, beat themselves up, you know, and you got to sit back and say, where does that come from within yourself? Why do I do that? I think we could thank our religions, our cultures, our families of origin that have contributed to this. But it's time to really embrace moving forward and really, looking at the possibilities that you can have, you know, uh, internal peace, and you could calm that chaos. And, many people have gone through many uh, difficult lifetimes. Okay. Many people who are listening to us on Inspired Choices Network, we know because we're those peeps that have had very challenging lifetimes. And it's not that we were bad people. It was about looking at what's happening at a core issue within each of us so we could develop ourselves enough so as we move forward with our ascension, we're able to heal things, contribute to collective consciousness, but also be the way showers for the next wave of people who are waking up and moving through all of this. It's all good. It's about being, the calm within the storms of your life or anything. It's about the resilience. It's like you keep pulling up your bootstraps and you keep carrying on, but you also, it's not a superficial or a bypass. It's about really digging deep and asking questions and being curious as to, well, why is this? Why is this happening? It's like being aware instead of being in react mode and unconscious. So, we've been talking about resilience and, developing a sense of calm and chaos. And I can't believe we're getting ready to go on our first break, but you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about what a person can do to find more calm in the chaos. So stay tuned, and when we come back, we'll tell you some more of those juicy tips. See you in a moment.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show on Inspired Choices Network, and I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And today we're talking about building resilience and finding calm in chaos. And on our first segment, we kind of went into more detail about resilience, but also the inner dance that we have with not only external chaos, but maybe the inner chaos that we're experiencing within ourselves. And, part of moving forward is, a lot of times just being aware. And, we talk a lot, there's a big buzz around being aware and mindfulness these days, but there's something to that. When, many of us have woken up, we're on our paths doing our life and our life lessons, and, things might have been going well for a while, then all of a sudden something happens that stops us in our tracks. And what had been working up to that point no longer is working, or we are feeling stuck, or maybe we feel like we had the rug pulled out from underneath us. Sometimes those are what we call awakening signs, or you're on your path to, you're on your starting your spiritual journey and your ascension path. And, it's not a bad thing, a good thing. It's just what it is. And it's about an opportunity to dig deeper and to find out who you are as an individual person, and have a relationship with yourself and develop that. So, when we talk about finding calm in chaos and stuff like that, you know, I think some of the things that are important, and it could be superficial to going really deep and doing an archaeological dig, as I call that, because you're unburying things that are really deep in there, maybe pulling back the layers of the onion just to get to the core issue of what's really going on. And you almost wonder if the layers of the onion are ever going to end, because it's just like, oh my God, it's just like, I thought I dealt with this. But guess what? You know what? You're vibrating at a higher frequency, your energy's up, the same thing's coming around. So it's like you get to look at things from a different theme and variation. So, circling back to how does one find calm in chaos, focus on mindfulness. Mindfulness, is a big thread in my talks. It's about being aware. It's about really coming to ground point, to your ground zero, your inner barometer, and your north star, if you want to call it that. it's about anything that's going to take you into your physical body so you could be more aware, more present, and in the moment. So that could be a variety of things like deep breathing, maybe, doing an activity where you lose all sense of time. How many times, maybe reading a book is considered a mindful activity because you could get lost in a book for hours sometimes if it's really captivated you. Or you could be in doing a creative project. Some people do art, some people play music to express their selves. It's like an extension of who you are that allows you to be in the present moment, and where time kind of, you lose all sense of time. um you know we are kind of dancing also with the whole thing of a routine. Some of us need a lot of structure, some of us not so much. But if you're the type of person that needs structure, maybe dial it down a little bit and not be so structured, but give yourself the flexibility to experience new things. And maybe if you're just all over the map and totally ungrounded, and it's hard for you to get things done, maybe it's about learning how to be more grounded in your body and be in the present moment. I offer a free guided meditation that's on my website, so I invite you to go there if you have problems, gaining clarity, but also getting into your body and staying there and staying grounded. This allows you to ground in multiple dimensions. So maybe, it depends on where you are on the continuum. If you're really very structured, I invite you to dial it down a little bit. But if you're not, maybe you need to dial it up a little bit and become a little more structured, a little more grounded in your body. It's about prioritizing and organizing and stuff like that. But you know what? It's more than that. It's about, make a list. I'm a list person too, but do I put a timeline on it? No. I just kind of empty my mental basket of things that I need to do with a little box and just put them on a piece of paper and not set a time to that. And I invite you to take on that methodology as well, because sometimes it's like you're not aligned with the energy of that task. And other times, because then if you try to do that or go and step into that task, it's like it's going to take you 3 times as long as if it was if as if you were going to do it in a time where you felt energetically aligned, and it just happens like that. And case in point, I was getting ready to create some writing blog posts, and it was just like, oh my god, it was just like, it was such a chore. And so I knew that it was energetically a not good time to do that, and so I waited a day or so, and I was able to get those blog posts out lickety split. So what I'm saying is that a lot of times our lists are not aligned with the energy. So allowing, or our agenda for the list, I'm going to clarify that our agenda for the list are not aligned with what is the flow of the universe. So I invite you to step into allowing yourself to experience the flow of things. And this should help get you more grounded, but also help you with taming some of that chaos. Um, so, people always ask too, does it require going deep into personal development and self growth, or can I just do superficial stuff? Well, that's a personal choice. What I'm going to say is that if you're comfortable with and you're satisfied with the results that you're getting from doing superficial stuff, have at it, be at it. And I'm also going to say this too, is that for now, maybe that's where you need to be. And as time progresses, I invite you to go deeper to look into that. Sometimes people are ready to take a deep dive into something and really, it's like they get to the point where, like, I'm so over this, I'm done with it. To me, I know they're like what I call ripe for picking, and it's time to transition and move through that. What you need to also remember too is sometimes when but you feel like you're so backed up against a wall and it's just like you can't handle it anymore. Our natural tendency is just to sometimes give up. And, sometimes we've been working hard and, going through our stuff and our lessons, and you get so frustrated that you're ready to throw in the towel, this is another indicator that you are on the cusp of probably breaking through something and something really deep. So I invite you to, look at that as a sign that a major shift is probably going to be happening. So don't give up in the 11th hour, okay? Because that's when miracles happen. So, in regards to personal development and self growth, like I said, we talked about self awareness and mindfulness. Being aware that you do something is like the analogy of bringing it from unconsciousness to consciousness, okay, or from the hidden to seen. Emotional regulation is we hear a lot about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about being able to put yourself in other situations and to feel what's kind of going on, and working from that aspect as well. This is important because when we're able to monitor how we are feeling, it allows us not to project what we're feeling onto other people. Okay. It's about being aware of that. And, one thing that I want to add to the mix is that too often sometimes in duress, we just emotionally, I call vomit or project onto other people all this stuff that we're feeling. And it's almost as if we're trying to beat ourselves up, but we project it out to somebody else to beat somebody else up. It's almost like the analogy of being in a pressure cooker. We're in our own internal pressure cooker, and whatever's happening is just happening so quickly and fastly that the pressure's building up. And anybody who knows about a pressure cooker or even an Instapot, the pressure builds up, and sometimes you have to allow the steam to be released. So when you allow that steam to be released, when people project, this is what they do. They open that steam valve, and they're projecting out to somebody else, onto somebody else. And that's something that we need to look at. And with emotional intelligence, it's like, and emotional regulation is just like, where are you spewing your stuff? And that poor person who's receiving that at the other end, you never know how that impacts them and what they take on. It's really an interesting dance when you see it from a bigger picture energetically. It's just like, sometimes these people will take on what you projected onto them as their truth, and they start creating it for themselves. Who wants to be involved with that type of karma? I sure don't. Mindfulness and resilience, we talked about that. Positive mindset, we talked about that. We talked about adaptability and flexibility. It's like learning, and we talked about that too, about, if you're really a structured person versus not. It's about learning how to be in the moment and to flow. And some people say, well, you know what, when I'm just like in the flow and everything like that. Well, there's got to be some element of structure too, because if you're not, let me define structure. It's about being grounded in the present moment. We have a lot of people sometimes that are so ungrounded that they're in the sky with the fairies and everything else, and spiritually they're great, but they're not grounded into this reality of being here on earth. So I invite people to ground themselves. So that's like being in a structured environment, a little bit of structure, and it'll help you immensely. So I can't believe it's time for our next break already. We've been just like, this is one of those time things where it's just like it speeds up for me. And uh, anyway, you're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about resilience and finding the calm in chaos, and even the personal chaos that you experience within your lives. So when we come back, we're going to talk more about taming this chaos, and so you could experience more calm and well-being in your life. So stay tuned, and when we return, we'll hear more.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And today's episode has been on resilience and finding calm in the chaos. And it's not just the external chaos, it's the inner chaos that we carry as well. Because it's all connected. Everything is connected and related. What we see outside of ourselves is some aspect that is within ourselves. I'm going to just segue a little bit here because there was a question that came up on another podcast, and they're like, how do we get in touch with you if we want to work with you and schedule some time to explore our issues and concerns and to help us become more well-rounded? Well, you can do that if you go to my website, drdoloresfazzino.com. There's a wealth of knowledge on my website. And if you're interested in scheduling a time with me, I take appointments, and I am in the Southern California area, so I'm in Pacific Standard Time, but reach out and drop me an email, and I'd be happy to chat with you and to explore what's going on with you and how to help you and maneuver through your chaos that's in your life as well. So circling back here to what we've been talking about is that, we talk about, we talked about self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and emotional regulation. We talked about mindfulness and coping mechanisms. Well, we didn't really talk too much about coping mechanisms, but coping mechanisms kind of go hand in hand with doing mindful activity. Coping mechanisms, you know, sometimes they get a bad rap because you could lead down to the pathway of being an addictive type of thing. Whereas if, okay, you're coping because, is it because you're doing it out of fear, or you're trying to stuff something down versus explore it and get to the bottom of it? Are you trying to ignore it and, maybe it'll go away? I grew up in a household, and I kind of circle back to this every couple times, or over the episodes that people have listened, where, I grew up in a household where we weren't allowed to feel. And God forbid, if something was really, uh, pushing our buttons, we weren't allowed to deal with it. The MO in our house, especially from my mom, was ignore it, it'll go away. Well, that's kind of interesting because when you ignore it, It doesn't go away. And I knew early on as an energetic being that, when you ignore something like that's an emotion or a situation, there's energy there. When you ignore it, the energy gets trapped. When that energy gets trapped and builds over time, guess what? It catapults into your physical body and then starts raising holy hell with your physical body and creates all sorts of um, interesting educational opportunities for you to maneuver through. So anyway, long story short, I'm gonna, coping strategies are great. Coping strategies may be, about, you know, how could I do something different? Looking at it a little deeper and maybe even healing it. Why cope with it? Let's heal that booger up, okay? Positive mindset definitely helps, okay? And positive mindset is not a bypass to not feeling, not experiencing, not being it Pollyannish and whatever. Positive mindset is about realizing that there's stuff, well, let's say positive mindset and healthy mindset combined is about realizing that there's something deeper going on that isn't working and you are ready to move through that so you could create something different. Um, Positive mindset, we talk about words and vibrations, and every word has a vibration. Some words vibrate lower at a lower frequency, others at higher frequencies. It's all related to what we tell ourselves in the silence of our minds, too. So if you are a type of person that is very hard on yourself and you're constantly beating yourself up, like, you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see and you're just judging and criticizing and just really being unkind to yourself, this is stuff that's lower vibrating. It's a frequency. It gets into your body. Since our bodies are at least 75% water, think about this now. We are labeling this vessel with those words. So guess what's happening? It's like those words are changing the whole chemistry of our pathophysiology, which can't be a good thing. So it's a new year. If you have a tendency to be, beating yourself up, judging and criticizing yourself, I invite you to, with awareness, you're aware that you're doing it. So when it starts, just say, okay, take a deep breath. I choose to say, you are beautiful. I love you. You're doing a good job. Hang in there. I'm with you. Start shifting that and see how it really starts to catapult in your life and create more and more of that. Being adaptable and flexible, it's like flowing down the river where, sometimes you're going to hit some currents and then there's going to be a period of calm. Just know and trust that the universe has your back because it always does. And, we're going to talk more about that in future episodes. I'm going to do a bunch of segments and episodes on trust and what you could do to build with that in the future. Some of the things that, people have a lot of challenges with is their interpersonal skills, or, they don't like to confront people, or they hate confrontation, they hate, speaking up for themselves, and sometimes it's about a worthiness component that maybe needs to be looked at and addressed at a deeper level. But when we strengthen our interpersonal skills, you can speak your words with kindness in how they're delivered. And you know what? You could deliver news to a person, but or say something to somebody, it's the delivery and how you deliver it that is the energetic component of that adds to the vibration of the words. Did you know that? It's true. Too often, people don't realize what they say to other people or even say to themselves. And it really has impacts in ways you have no idea. It's something to really to be aware of. And then setting goals and prioritization. And, goal setting is great. It's like we're in January, New Year's resolution, goal setting. How many of us set goals and we're all eager and ready to go? And by the end of the month, we just lost steam and we just kind of forgotten about them and haven't done anything. This happens more than you could appreciate. Goal setting's great. I'm going to invite you to not put a time limit on it because remember, it's not your timing, it's the universe's timing. Maybe there's things that need to happen behind the scenes in order that we can't see, that the pieces need to line up and be in place before those goals manifest. Okay. So that's a different way and a stretch to really look at things from a different perspective. So, like I wanted to say here is like some of the takeaways from what we've talked about in creating more calm in a chaotic world and also more calm within our chaotic self. Being mindful and being in the present moment. Key importance, okay? When you're in the present moment, you're in charge. You're empowered in your beingness. And when you are in the present moment, whatever's happening externally around you doesn't seem to affect you. It's almost as if you become Teflon coated. It just runs off of you. Anything that would have really triggered you or in the past or really set off your buttons seems to not be as, I'm going to say, triggering, or it comes to a neutrality. So it's almost like, having a Teflon coating on your energy field where it's like, okay, you know what, this is happening and it's not going to, affect who I am or how I'm going to function. Okay. The other thing is you can cultivate resilience through your perspective. So it's like changing the lenses on how you are seeing something, changing your perspective. It's about reclassifying the information that we're getting. You may need to, you know, adapt a new way of looking at things, be open and to change and just to be teachable, meaning being able to learn something new. Drop those spurs of resistance. Those heel spurs that you dig in and you're like, you dig in your heels and you're just like, absolutely not. Maybe this is happening more on an unconscious level and you're not aware of it yourself, but other people could see it. So, just be aware of feedback you're getting from the environment, other people, the universe. Maybe these are things that, may be time to change beliefs or change old patterns or change old coping strategies. Okay. Those coping strategies no longer are working. Maybe it's time to adapt and to be able to look at things from a different perspective. And, prioritizing your self-care and well-being. This is what we should be doing on a daily basis, not just in January, New Year's or whatever. This should be, I invite people to implement this and continue to keep this as part of their self-care. Be a priority in your life. Do things that are going to bring you joy, relaxation, and a sense of well-being. Take breaks from exercising. Who says you have to exercise all the time? I have this belief that, and I witnessed this as being a nurse practitioner. It's like some people start exercising and they injure themselves. And then I respond to, see, exercise is hazardous to your health. Sometimes, okay? Yes, we're talking about circling back, ebb and flow, in the flow, not being over, not being so off balance, doing it so you're so off balance. And to recognize that self care of your mental and physical health is essential for maintaining equilibrium during challenging times. It's not only your mental and physical, it's your emotional, your spiritual, and your dimensional health. All important. So, you've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about resilience and, coping with chaos, blah, 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 blah. Finding calm in chaos. I'm so relaxed right now. It's just like, oh, yeah, whatever. So when we come back, we're just going to recap and we'll talk about what next week's episode is going to be all about. Stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon.
Do you trust your instincts? Many of us don't. Yet this is the key to connecting to your innate healer within and your intuition. Tune in to the Dr. Dolores Show with nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer, Dr. Dolores Fazzino, to receive insights and tools to realign with your inner wisdom for lasting health and true wellness. Listen for the Dr. Dolores Show, Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Dr. Dolores Show with Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Dolores at drdoloresfazzino.com. Now, back to the program.
Well, welcome back, everybody. You've been listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. I'm Dr. Dolores Fazzino, nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and energy whisperer. And we've been talking about building resilience and calming the chaos of our lives. Okay. In over the last several segments, we just talked about things that people could do to tap into their innate ability to calm the chaos that maybe that they're experienced not only externally but internally as well. So as I recap here about this segment, let's just talk about some last thoughts here. So things to remember: acceptance and adaptability, acceptance of self, and being able to adapt to situations are going to be very important. Connect with others. We're in a state right now of creating community. We're moving from the I to we. And when we're in community, it's about community of like-minded people. So I invite people to set the intention to be more involved in community, but to also find the community that aligns with them, that's going to be, supportive and to assist them on their path moving forward, because we're not the Lone Ranger anymore. It's important that, we all come together and assist each other, because remember, we're going into an era of love and abundance and prosperity. And this is where we need to go. And this is how we need to create from. Learn and grow from challenges. Let's face it, that's part of life. You're going to be challenged. This is where you get your educational opportunity. Remember, I talk about this too. You're getting your PhD of being human on Earth. Important. So learn and grow from challenges or things that, may not be as positive as you like, because guess what? You're getting upgraded. Practice gratitude and appreciation. So important, because gratitude and appreciation are high vibrating, and it's like whatever you focus on, you're going to create more of that. And when you're really grateful for the things that you have in your life, you're going to create more things that you're grateful and appreciative in your life. Celebrate small wins. You know what? It's just like everything, we set intentions, okay? So say I love this intention, that everything is working out for me in ways that you can't imagine. So pay attention to the little things that are happening, because sometimes we dismiss those little things on our way to getting something. Maybe the universe is always supporting me. You find like a penny on the floor. Well, gosh, they're supporting you. Be grateful for that. I know that's a stretch for some people, but that's okay. Those are small wins. Remember your strengths. Everybody has amazing strengths. Unfortunately, when we beat ourselves up, we focus on our limitations. So focus on your strengths. So important. Balance and boundaries. Just set boundaries. If it's a yes, say yes. If it's a no, say no. None of this wishy-washy in between. Really be decisive. So, finding calm in the chaos is an ongoing process that involves self discovery, adaptability, and commitment to well being. It's about developing a toolkit of strategies that work for you and incorporating them into daily life. Remember that you have the capacity to navigate challenge and emerge stronger on the other side. So, let's talk about next week. So, next week, we are going to be talking about Ascension Unveiled, Navigating Timelines. And I'm just going to put this question out to people. How many of you people have gone through some really interesting things the last several months? Meaning that maybe you've lost a job, maybe you've lost a relationship, a long-term relationship, maybe your friends are changing, you're changing friends, they're kind of fading out of your life, or maybe situations are moving away. We're going to be talking about jumping timelines next week, and I'm just going to read a little bit about what you could expect. We're going to learn more about why that is so. Embark on a transformative journey in the special episode of Ascension Unveiled, Navigating Timelines with Dr. Dolores. She's going to bring clarity on an interesting concept of jumping timelines. What is it all about, and how can one maneuver and thrive through the quantum concept? We're going to dive deep into the mysteries of conscious evolution and discover the power of intentional timeline jumps. Guided by experts' insights, these episodes serves as an essential guide to unlocking the potential within, blending spirituality and practicality for a truly enlightening exploration. As this episode unfolds, we delve into the concept of ascension, exploring how conscious choices shape the trajectory of our lives. Learn how to navigate the intricate web of your personal timeline, making intentional shifts that align with your truest desires. Ascension Unveiled offers a captivating narrative that empowers you to take control of your destiny. Are you ready for your destiny? So join us next week, and where we're going to talk more about jumping timelines and what we're actually witnessing and living through as we are ascending as human beings here on Earth. Ascension Unveiled, Navigating Timelines invites us to embrace the transformative potential of intentional choices, illuminating the path to a brighter, more enlightened future. Elevate your consciousness and witness the magic that unfolds when you take charge of your own timeline. So this will be a really cool topic, especially for people who are experiencing so many changes right now, because it'll offer you some hope, inspiration, and possibly transformation as to why this is happening, and allow you to step into this with a lot more grace and ease. Grease. Oh, okay. Maybe we're going to slide into it. That would be kind of fun too, huh? Anyway, so what I really want to say is this: calming the chaos that we have experienced is not only an outer reflection of the inner, it's also what's going on within us. And as we heal and move through that and heal that up, you're going to become unstoppable. So take care of yourselves until we meet again, and we'll see you next week. And just remember that you are worth it, and just be kind to yourself. You've got this. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Dr. Dolores Show. Dr. Dolores returns Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, 1 p.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, remember to be kind to yourself and create your best life. You are worth it.